Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kirsten. I'm documenting my journey through infertility along with my husband, who you have yet to see, but I'm sure he'll be in a video at some point. So far, I'm just getting you caught up to where we are basically today. This should be probably one of the last videos that's like a catch-up video, so to speak. Moving on from here, I think we'll be pretty much caught up to what's going on. So as always, I've written all my numbers or my dates down so that I can communicate everything to you guys properly. But if anything's unclear or you have questions, always leave them below. I'll do my best to find the information if I can, and if I can't, then I'm sorry that I'm not a doctor. But yeah, any questions, anytime, just leave them below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So, last video, I ended off just kind of telling you what tests we had done, my husband and I, with our fertility doctor to just kind of see what our plan moving forward should be. So, we met with the doctor for the follow-up for our results on February 26th, and that was to go over, as I said, the results for my husband's semen analysis, my blood work, and my HSG. So I'll touch on mine because they're a little bit simpler. The blood work that I had done was really just to confirm, number one, that I had PCOS, which my doctor has confirmed I do, but also to see where I was at in my cycle, to see if we needed to force a period, just to, get things moving and make sure we were on the right track. So my numbers came back whatever, I don't actually know what they came back as, but everything was mostly normal except for the fact that, like I said, I have PCOS. The HSG, which I'll put the word across the screen because I can't say it and half the time I can't remember it, is where it starts out like a pelvic exam, I guess, or a PAP, and then they actually, I think what they do is they stick a little catheter into your cervix and inject dye into your fallopian tubes to make sure there's no blockages. And my results were normal. I had no blockages. So those were the two tests that I had done. Everything looked okay. That's pretty much it for me. My husband, I mentioned in the last video, he had to go twice for the semen analysis. He went the first time, and a couple of days later, or the next day, he got a call from our clinic saying that something wasn't quite right, and they needed him to go back and do another sample. So he did, and we heard nothing, so we assumed either that confirmed the issue that they saw with the first sample, or that just totally, overwrote the original sample and the second one is right. So when we went to our appointment on February 26th, the doctor went over everything with us. I didn't prepare myself enough, so I don't know what all the terms are, but the volume and the quantity, all of my husband's numbers were great. They were normal, they were good, except for the morphology rate, which is basically the number of normal or good sperm. So, some have two heads, two tails, whatever. So the morphology rate is the percentage of normal sperm. And what is considered average is 4%. But my husband's second sample, I'm not sure about his first sample, but his second sample had a 1% morphology rate. So that's not great. But it explains why we've been having trouble, because if his normal count of swimmers is low, and then I'm not ovulating regularly because of PCOS and my hormones being all out of whack and everything, then yeah, it makes sense why we haven't conceived. I actually went back and counted just last week or something. We are on 19 months since we started trying, but this is only my 9th cycle. So I've had about half as many cycles as I was supposed to at this point. So it makes a lot of sense that we have not conceived as of yet. What else do I have here? Oh, so our plan moving forward. We, as I said, met with our doctor for the results on February 26th, and from there, he gave me 3 orders for blood work, a prescription for progesterone, and a prescription for Letrozole, which is also known as Femara, similar to Clomid, but slightly different. So basically, plus I had mentioned previously, I was supposed to do a biopsy, endometrial biopsy, the day of my HSG, but something got confused and it didn't happen. So this current cycle that I'm on is technically a waste because we did my biopsy early this cycle, and because of that, they don't want to put me on the Letrozole until I've had my next period, just to give my uterus some time to recuperate and replenish the lining and whatever. So the endometrial biopsy was almost the same as the HSG. I went to my doctor, started out like a pelvic exam, like a PAP sort of thing, put a catheter in. They take a little piece of your uterine lining for testing, to make sure there's nothing, cancerous or infectious or wrong or whatever. And we were supposed to hear within, I think, 2 weeks if anything was wrong. And we've heard nothing, and it's been like almost 4 weeks, I think. So that's all fine, obviously. So I forget. Oh yeah, the Letrozole. So this cycle that I'm on, once it ends, I can go and get the Letrozole / Femara and start taking that. So the way my doctor explained it to me is there's essentially 3 approved dosages, like a low dose, a medium, and a high dose. So he doesn't want to start me on a high dose if I would respond to a low dose. So, I mean, whatever, that's fine. He's the doctor. I don't really care. So this next cycle, I will be starting on a low dose of Letrozole, which is, from my understanding, again, I'm not a doctor. You can Google it. You'll probably get better information. Letrozole helps you to mature mature a better quality egg, like one egg, to the point of ovulation, so that your chances are better at getting pregnant, because number 1, you've got a better quality egg, and number 2, it's actually forcing you to ovulate, when people like me typically don't ovulate every single cycle, or don't ovulate regularly enough. I think I've mentioned before, I've had some really, really long cycles. I had checked, but I still don't remember the exact number of days, but it was up in like the 160 mark. I know I've said a bunch of other numbers in previous videos, but I actually had looked the other day. So 160 something was the longest cycle that I ever had. So the Letrozole is to help give you an actual chance, basically, to get pregnant. So if we don't conceive on this coming cycle, I will be bumped up to a medium dose, which will then go through the same thing. And if I don't conceive on that cycle, we'll bump up to a high dose. And same thing, if I don't conceive on that cycle, we'll actually take a cycle with no medication. And then we're not 100% sure what the plan is moving forward from there. But the doctor did say at that point, if we still have not conceived, that he may recommend IUI, which is intrauterine insemination. So I'm hoping to not get to that point, because I don't want to. It's not cheap. I mean, it could be way worse. Being in Canada, like, our costs are so much lower than other places in the world, but it's still not cheap, and it's an uninsured procedure. So anyways, that's kind of the plan moving forward. I touched on the biopsy, I touched on the results. So that's pretty much it for this video. Like I said, I think as of now, you're pretty much caught up on where we're at. So our next appointment with our doctor isn't actually until July, because he's given us all the blood work results, or all the results, all my blood work orders, all my prescriptions that I could possibly need, and depending kind of on how my cycles go, will determine, you know, whether I need the progesterone and whether I need to go for any of that blood work. So we'll see how it goes. At this point, I have been able to get rid of the very first blood work order, because it was, I think it was if I didn't get my period by like March 12th or something, that I needed to go for blood work, see where I was at in my cycle, potentially start on the progesterone, blah, 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 whatever. But I got my period on my own, so that one's in the trash. Now we're just waiting for this period to come, because I think if it doesn't come by April 12th, I'm supposed to go for blood work to see where I'm at, to see if I need the progesterone, so we can start the next cycle and get me onto the Letrozole. But based on my charts and things, not that this is really what I'm talking about right now, but based on my charts, I have ovulated this cycle. So fingers crossed that I don't need to go for the blood work and I don't need the progesterone, because it would be really nice if I could just kind of do it on my own without all the help. I mean, I'll take the help, but I'd like to need less help if I can. So this is going to be like my longest video yet. I really appreciate you watching and joining me on this journey. As I've said, any information I can provide will be in the box below. If you've got any questions, please leave them. I'd love to answer. And that's it. We'll see you guys next time.